Welcome back, everyone, to Man Cave Movie Night. We have unfortunate news today. This last week, on Tuesday night, at a 7-year anniversary party for the release of The Founder, the entire cast and crew died. The party, which was located on the slopes of one of the largest and most dangerous active volcanoes in the world, Mount Etna in Sicily, Italy, featured a rain dance ceremony to call forth, quote, all of the wrath of Poseidon and Zeus together, when suddenly asteroids began falling from the sky. Fortunately, set decorator Susan Benjamin provided the party with asteroid-resistant garden pergolas beneath which all attendees were able to take refuge. As the storms of sky and sea began to bolster with the power of Zeus and Poseidon, locally known as Jupiter and Neptune, the ground below began to crack as a 9.7 earthquake initiated, causing Mount Etna to erupt and willing into existence a 1,900-foot-tall tidal wave, the largest ever recorded. As lava, ash, hail, lightning, and asteroids descended from above, and a wall of water the likes of which had never been seen rushed in from the south, Michael Keaton and director John Lee Hancock were quoted as saying simultaneously, quote, "At least we'll go out doing what we love. Suffering at the hands of an angry planet as we celebrate the 7-year anniversary of our favorite film, The Founder, available to rent or purchase on Prime Video, before the ground collapsed under them and they fell into a seemingly endless abyss that stretched forth into a downward eternity. So, call in or write in and let us know, what are you doing to celebrate The Founder's 7th birthday?"
Interesting. Oh, man, I would really like to call it. I don't know if I'll have time to call it right in, but if I was to call in, I think I would say I'm going to have to, first of all, mourn, obviously, the death of Michael Keaton and John Lee Hancock, my two favorite actor/writer/director duo people alive. And then outside of that, I would just have to rewatch The Founder in peace, alone in my room with my candles lit, nude in the tub, as I always do, covered in slime and goo.
And I'm going to get an extra juicy double Big Mac exclusive at McDonald's for a limited time only.
That's a good idea, too.
Welcome back, everyone, to Man Cave Movie Night. We have some good news. The cast and crew of The Founder is not actually dead. That was a false report.
That's great news.
That was a false report that we received. They're doing fine, and none of that happened. So
all the fake news these days, why'd they have to get us with that one?
Yeah, I know. That's kind of malicious. Come on.
That is so malicious.
I was crying for a while in my tub of goo.
Well, yeah, they were asking us to send in money, too. That was not part of the report, but they did ask to donate to the relief fund. Fortunately, we didn't send any, but who knows how many people they did trick. So
that is a bummer, actually.
If you want to support this situation, don't donate to any relief funds. Just rent or purchase The Founder on Amazon Prime Video, and you can watch it there.
Or just Venmo it to Michael Keaton. Michael
that's
Keaton.
True. At Michael _Keaton, because Michael Keaton was taken.
Yeah. Well, crazy you say that, because Michael Keaton's real name is Michael Douglas. Did you know that? So basically, the way that it works for SAG,
town ain't big enough in the two of us.
Exactly.
The two of us.
There are a lot of actors who will change the last name to something else because that name is already taken in SAG, like the Screen Actors Guild Actors Union. And that was the case for Michael Douglas, i.e. Michael Keaton.
I feel like,
because when he got into SAG, it was like, hey, there's already a Michael Douglas. And he's like, fine, I guess I'm Michael Keaton now. And so kind of wild.
I feel like you could pick something cooler than Keaton, though. I would have picked, like,
Stone. I'm not sure how he got... I don't know if it's like his mother's maiden name or something like that. But it's funny you say Stone, because Emma Stone's last name is not actually Stone.
Oh, wow. See, she picked a cool one, though.
or maybe her first name isn't Emma. Either her first or last name is different because same thing. When she joined SAG, her actual name. Maybe it's Emily.
I think
maybe it's
I
Emma
think her
Thompson.
name is Emily.
Emily, yeah, that's what it is.
And then in interviews, I've seen clips where like I think it was Andrew Garfield was calling her Emily, and someone was like, her name. They're like,
What's that about?
did you call her Emily?
Yeah.
She's like, yeah, that's my name.
Actual name.
That's my
It's
real
something like that.
That's weird.
And she's like, please call me Emily.
That's super
It's
weird.
pretty funny.
Well, yeah. Anyway, none of that happened, so
Now
don't
that
worry
was
about
a
it.
disaster.
However, we could have believed something like that, and you know why? Disaster movies are getting more and more believable as they come out. The pick,
Are they?
Yeah, dude. The
Moonfall just came out last year.
Moonfall just came out last year, and that was the most
What happened?
scared I've ever been in my entire life.
of a movie becoming real.
Because I thought it was the thing that was really happening. I didn't realize it was so realistic that it didn't even seem like it was a movie.
Yeah,
And Halle
that's
Berry
true.
kind of looks like my neighbor, so I thought she was in trouble. And so that was
And
kinda
you were
scary.
worried about that.
I was like, no.
And Alexander
neighbor.
Skarsgård and I are personal close friends.
Oh, so you called him up afterwards? And
Yeah,
he
I was
able
like,
to
wait,
inform
did the
me that it
moonfall
was-
actually, is it happening? He said no. And I was
Did
like,
the
oh.
moonfall happen? Yeah.
Well, isn't that, I haven't seen it, but isn't that premise is that the moon is fake or something? It's like
I
a
don't
robot
know.
or
I don't know.
I've saw one
Satellite.
trailer once. So I don't
Dang,
know.
I was hoping you guys had seen it.
I do not even I don't remember it coming out. I've never heard of Moonfall before.
Moonfall, dude. It looked.
It's a
the
Roland
concept-
Emmerich.
The idea
classic.
of the moon crashing into the Earth is really cool.
Who?
I think, but the movie, I can guarantee you, is terrible.
Dude, it's got a rockin' 1.9 on Letterboxd. I don't know what you're saying.
Well, we're talking about disaster movies today, everyone. I'm Niall. We didn't do
I'm
that.
Jared.
Lucas.
And
And
we mean movies that were disasters at the box office.
Yeah, that's what we're talking
not
about.
disaster movies, disastrous movies is what we're talking about. No, we are talking about disaster movies. This, of course, is inspired by the imminent release of Twisters, which
I
was wondering
could
what the-
be fun.
What the motivation behind choosing this topic was,
Well,
but
I feel like the reason I picked this topic is I feel like disaster movies, it's unfortunate because so many of them are just bad or forgettable.
yes.
But the concept of a disaster movie is like kind of what movies were made for, you know? Like you can live through this thing that otherwise wouldn't happen, but you kind of like it's similar to a horror movie, except they tend to lean a little more action and thriller, but
Yeah.
you take something that people are scared of and you present it to them so that they can kind of process it a little better. For example, the movie 2012 was a very timely movie,
dude.
but like it capitalized
Another Roland
on
Emmerich
what,
classic.
but it capitalized on what people were kind of talking about and freaking
Oh,
out
totally.
about at the time.
I'm pretty
you
sure
know?
it was successful. Like I think it made
Yeah.
money. I don't know for
So,
sure, but probably.
I feel like disaster movies have potential to be good, but there are just so few. Like any good disaster movie is kind of like a diamond in the rough, you
Totally.
know.
Oh,
and I don't
absolutely.
feel like it should be that way. So I wanted to talk about it a little bit, maybe get to the bottom of it, figure out why
Figure
they
out
aren't
why.
good,
Yeah.
or things like that. And then of course we have our questions, but
yeah,
I guess
totally.
just to start off, why do you guys think that disaster movies skew
bad.
I think it's kind of like any big blockbuster, big budget movie where, like Transformers, not to dog on Transformers, but it's like you really don't need to write good human characters if you're just going to show some big explosions.
Yeah.
And that's for the most part, I feel like what they do with disaster movies is, yeah, like the appeal is seeing a wave the size of the Empire State Building crashing over New York and killing everyone. We don't need to have like Dwayne Johnson's character be at all interesting. You know, people are just
But
going
it'd
to see
be
it
cool
for
if
what
it
is.
was.
No.
It'd be cool if it was.
I guess. It's going to be cool anyway.
Yeah,
it's a big
exactly.
wave.
I
Or a
agree.
big earthquake.
So
Or a big
So
earthquake,
it's
or a big
basically
lightning.
just we can allocate our actual efforts somewhere else because people are going to see this movie either way.
Yeah.
I'd
And
say so.
I think like, well, disaster movies really were popping off in the 90s and early 2000s. That was
Yeah.
the heyday for disaster movies. There were so many, just an obscene amount. And I think, I don't know which movies really started it, but I predict probably like Independence Day was one of the first ones. And I actually think Independence Day is pretty fun. Like, I think that's a
I
good
do
one.
like Independence Day.
It's-
Not Resurgence.
Yeah, dude, the second one.
I didn't see it,
It's
fortunately.
unbelievable.
Very bad.
It is crazy how bad that movie is. But for the first one, it's fun. Like it's a really cool premise. Like, you know, you blow up the White House, you blow up the Empire State Building, like you hit the big monuments, and then you kind of go from there, and it's a lot of fun. But I think that started a bunch of either alien invasion disaster movies or Roland Emmerich himself making a ton more. And that's all he does now is just disaster movies. And so
And like if he's still doing it, he must be at least making enough money.
Oh, I'm
for
sure he
him to
makes
not
money.
Change plans.
Well, yeah, there are some obviously that flop, but some
Right.
that, yeah, must make enough. And I think the thing is, like, back in the 90s and 2000s, like, that was how you got that fix, that action movie fix. Like, oh, yeah, here's this huge explosion and here's this world ending stuff. And I think that genre has just kind of bled into other genres or other mediums. So you don't need to see a movie about the world ending to see that type of stuff happening. And I think that's why they're so much like successful now, is people just scratch that itch in other places and just don't even bother with the, because you know there's only so much you can do before you are saying, hey, the moon is falling and the name of the movie is Moonfall, and that's a real movie that came out, and we live in a society.
We live in a
Don't
society.
we? If you take one message from this podcast today, it is that we live in a society.
Yeah, exactly.
I think that the 90s especially is when it exploded, just because that's when computer graphics got good enough to make it happen
exactly.
and to show it happening, you know?
Maybe,
and that's
yeah.
why I think that that's kind of what movies were made for, you know, is like, if that happened pretty much right when they got the capability to do so, it feels almost to me like they were wanting to, and finally it was like, oh, this new technology came out, you can make it look like, you know, planet explode with this. And they were like, okay, great, yeah,
Well, we
we're
do
gonna
that.
do that then. And so I don't
And
know,
maybe
it's-
maybe even like Jurassic Park was the one that started it all, because it's like that was the first one. It's not technically a disaster movie, but it's like kind of almost in that vein of, hey, there's like some elements of not even necessarily ending the world, but it's like, you know, if the dinosaurs got loose on the world, which in theory could be a really cool concept, but we got that in Jurassic World Dominion, and it was the worst thing ever. It sucked so bad.
also fortunately didn't see that.
Yeah.
so.
So,
But yeah, maybe because that was like when CG was like, that was the first real example of CG being effectively implemented into a movie like that. So who knows? Maybe there's something there. Maybe there's
Could
a
be.
question we could ask about that.
There is probably a question we could ask about
there
that.
might be, maybe good.
Is that my one?
I don't remember who asked it. It's not my question.
Who asked which one?
The
Yeah,
one I like.
what were you hinting at?
I was hinting at a movie that's disguised as a.
Oh yeah,
Ah.
that's my question.
Yeah, that's
we
what I
can
thought.
start with there if we want.
We don't have to, but I
Absolutely.
think it's a good one.
Let's do it. What's a movie, guys, that is secretly
Segway
a
Kings, all three of us
disaster
today.
movie in disguise? Okay, on its surface, no, it's something else. But if you really look at it, you're like, no,
You're like,
this is
hey,
a disaster
wait a
movie.
minute.
Technically, I would count this as a disaster movie. Mm-hmm. So yeah, tell me.
Niall, I'll let you go first, just
Please.
because I have a backup just in case you steal mine. So,
So my answer, I don't know if this is far enough. If it's not, I can come up with a different answer. But
Let's run with it.
to me, when you think of disaster movies, this doesn't come up in my immediate brain. However, once you look at it through that lens, it's like, well, obviously, that is any Godzilla movie. We'll say Godzilla -1. You think of it as a monster movie, but especially Godzilla -1 or the original 1954 Godzilla, 2016 also had elements of this where Godzilla is not a character. Godzilla is a force of nature that is kind of showing up and destroying stuff and ruining people's lives. It's the difference. We talked about this in the -1 episode, but the difference between American Godzilla movies where it's like, awesome, Godzilla's on the screen, finally, we'll see him do stuff, versus Godzilla showing up in -1. Every time he shows up, you go, no, no, like things were going so well, and now he's here ruining everything again. And just kind of like the desolation he leaves in his wake in -1, I just think is so terrifying. And, you know, with the allegory of the bombs and everything, it's like, yeah, it's totally a disaster movie. But when I was thinking of disaster movies, I didn't think of Godzilla until Jared sent this question in.
Sure.
Which I guess qualifies it at least to that degree.
Totally.
Yeah.
I think the 1998 one is pretty widely considered a disaster movie.
Well, that's disastrous.
Disastrous in that it's horrible, made no money, and I think it is more of a disaster movie because, again, directed by Roland Emmerich. So he comes back again. Yep, it's 98 Godzilla, man. That's the king of disaster movies making that one. From the legend who will eventually bring you Moonfall comes 1998 Godzilla.
Awesome.
My answer is a movie that I don't think really many people think of as a disaster movie. And the reason why is because it's so good. People, I don't think, are used to a movie being good and having further elements outside of the disastrous part of it. And that movie is Titanic. Titanic, when you really think about it, totally is a disaster movie. Like, you know
100%.
what's coming. I mean, you know, it's not... The characters don't know what's going to happen. But if you have any idea of the history of the Titanic, you know that boat is sinking. And it doesn't matter how much you love Jack and Rose. The fact of the matter is the Titanic will crash and sink. And, you know, it's a 3-hour movie, and it's probably about an hour or more of that movie is the Titanic actually going down. And that stuff is like really well done. Like, it's really actually haunting and scary watching, because it's disastrous for all those people. And part of that is like it's based on the real life event. And part of it is the fact that they do a really good job of capturing maybe some of what that was actually like. And I love Titanic. Like, genuinely, I think that movie is awesome. And I think it totally is a disaster movie, but it's just so good that people don't even think about it like that because of how good the actual characters are. Like Jared was saying earlier, the characters are usually so forgettable, but Jack and Rose, if no one else in that movie, are awesome.
Yeah.
Totally.
Love it. I do want it noted really quick that you said you like Titanic, which according to Film Bro law, you're now like a casual movie fan.
I know.
And you're like basic.
I know.
I
do apologize.
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe.
You're kind of
Titanic
not allowed
mid?
to like Titanic. I feel like
I love
people talk about how that's
Titanic
like the
for
basic,
me.
like a white
Totally.
girl favorite movie.
Oh, okay.
That's a 5-star movie for me. I'm not even gonna try and hide it. I love that movie.
I
think
I
Titanic
haven't
is amazing.
seen it in years and years and years, but I'm not walking around saying it's bad. You know?
Yeah. Well, that was the thing. I hadn't watched it either. When I rewatched it, I was like, dude, I think this is my favorite James Cameron movie. I love Terminator
Whoa.
and I love Aliens, but Titanic, man. Titanic is a good movie. Yeah. All of it. All of it is great.
I have not seen it. And
Really? Yeah, it's
I
good.
thought
You
about
don't need
watching it,
to.
and then I was like, it's
mid,
8
basic.
hours long, so I didn't watch it.
Yeah,
not
it
that
is.
long,
It's a full
but
3 hours.
Yeah, I didn't want to do that. My answer is a Disney movie.
Ah,
When you think disaster, you're not thinking Disney.
no, sir.
Disney's
sir,
happy.
I'm
Disney
not.
good and just happy, fun little people.
True.
Well, this isn't a movie about people. This is a movie about dinosaur. And this is Disney's Dinosaur.
yeah, dude, 100%.
Totally. Man,
I
that's a
haven't
good
seen
answer.
this movie in a long time.
Me either.
And I think it maybe scarred me a bit because it's a little sad
Totally.
when a little asteroid hits a little thing called Earth.
And all your
and-
characters
doesn't look good for all of my
dude.
favorite animal friends. But I look back, I think very fondly on the good parts,
Totally.
and I feel traumatized by the ending. But it's fun. Like, this is a very much a Rogue One approach. I think actually Rogue One took the dinosaur approach, where it's like, hey,
100%.
here's a story. Here are these characters. They're all gonna die in the end, by destroying a entire planet, basically. But yeah, I mean, I don't really have much to say about Dinosaur. I think it's fun. I haven't watched it in forever, but technically, it's a disaster.
Oh,
movie.
totally. No, absolutely it
Yeah,
is.
that's
Though once
the
you
best
said that, I like had all these like this rush of memories about that movie. I'm like, that 100% is a disaster movie.
What it makes me think of is I don't know if they have it at Disneyland, but the Disney World dinosaur ride.
The ride, yeah, that's what I think about every time.
Rocks, dude.
Yeah.
That ride is so cool where you have to go and save that one species and bring it to modern day.
Yeah, that's
Wild.
that's a crazy ride.
Very
It's
crazy
fun.
ride.
Yeah, growing up,
Well,
in
that's-
Florida,
that's
I
an awesome
honestly, I think
answer.
I was terrified of going on that ride because I was just such a wimp for anything like even remotely scary
Yeah.
in terms of rides, especially.
me too, growing
And so,
I'm not anymore.
yeah,
I'm
no,
really
no,
Well,
brave.
dude,
now.
well,
yeah.
go ride it now.
yeah, I'll go on it, and I like it.
It doesn't even matter how scary other people say the ride is. I'll still go on
Yeah,
it.
yeah. So totally. Even the dinosaur ride now. But yeah, I went on the ride before saw the movie, and then watching the movie contextualized the ride a little bit more for me. I was like, oh, it's not so scary after all, said
It's just
7-year-old
dinosaurs.
Lucas. Yeah, it's just dinosaurs. They can't hurt me. They're not real anymore.
Good
That's
catch.
good.
Good catch.
Yeah,
Dang,
that's all my
dinosaurs, the
question.
perfect
Yeah, that
answer.
is a great answer. That is a great answer. I can ask my question unless...
Please.
Okay.
No, I demand it.
So, we've been yapping about how disaster movies could be bad. Lots of times could be bad. But what is one that for you, you're like, you know what? No. I'm going to hold up my shield against all you haters and say, this disaster movie, good. Maybe not for you, but for me.
Okay.
Which
I've
is all
got-
that matters.
All that matters.
I've got an
exactly.
answer. And I don't know. This is also... Other people say this movie is good. I actually am going to talk about this movie, and then I'm going to talk about the problem that I have with it. So basically, I'm using this question just to give myself a platform for something that I just want to talk about.
I'm ready. Yeah, let's do it.
Which is the movie 10 Cloverfield Lane
Ah, nice.
Okay.
is brilliant. The way they approach it, the whole vibe of that movie is awesome. And it's this really cool like disaster mystery of like what's going on, is this guy telling the truth, blah blah blah. The movie was almost perfect, but it's undercut in a rather large way, and that is it's called 10 Cloverfield Lane.
Yeah.
You know that the disaster actually happened. Spoilers for 10 Cloverfield.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But-
or for Cloverfield. I mean,
Or for Cloverfield, yeah. If you watched Cloverfield not knowing that the world kind of gets ended in that movie, then sorry. But you watch it, and the whole kind of intrigue is this character wondering if it did happen, if it didn't happen. And how much better would that movie's experience have been if the audience went through that same question with the main character? And you're not sure if the world is still the same above or if it's different, you know? And so, I don't know. Everybody loves 10 Cloverfield Lane, at least people that I've talked to. Like, I haven't really heard people that have talked bad on it. But it was so close to being kind of like a perfect movie.
Yeah.
And instead is just kind of like a movie that I saw once, and then I was like, all right, that was cool, but
Well,
the ending just has no impact because you already know.
and here's the thing with that. It was originally, just to contextualize this, it was originally not a Cloverfield movie. They shot the whole movie, and it was called The Cellar. And then J.J. Abrams was like, hey, because he was kind of at that point saying, I want to build a Cloverfield universe. and then eventually connect them somehow, even though that's a whole other tangent.
Great
But
idea.
whatever. The only other movie previously existing was the first Cloverfield movie. And then he's like, let's do this other thing that's kind of a spin-off. And so they shot that sequence at the very end of the movie where she gets out of the cellar and sees, oh, hey, there's actually aliens. And it is a real thing, which, is unfortunate. But,
Yeah.
Again, I totally on board with what you were saying, Niall, though, because I think it's a great concept. The way they set it up, too, with her getting into the accident and be like, oh, it's maybe, like, it just works so well. And it would have just been way better if it hadn't been a Cloverfield movie. Again, because then it just went nowhere. They just went nowhere with that concept of building a Cloverfield universe, and it was just for naught. Like, the mystery, the mysterious element of it is ruined.
Well, and it's cool because a disaster movie, I feel like to a certain degree, the disaster has to be occurring in the movie for it to be considered a disaster movie.
Yeah.
However, this movie uses the disaster more as the setting to create an interesting story. And I think that is something where generally disaster movies could kind of improve, is the disaster is really cool, but at the end of it, it should be the setting for interesting things happening with the characters. And it should be driving characters in interesting directions. Like what you were saying earlier, Jared, about, producers and executives just kind of saying, well, like, they're going to come to see the wall of water anyway. It doesn't matter what's going on. Yeah. It's like the wall of water means so much more if you care about the people that it's totally demolishing. And 10 Cloverfield Lane, by the end of it, you care about both of those characters a lot. And you're wondering, is this guy a good guy? Is he not? Is this lady, like, I don't know. It's really interesting and almost perfect, but in terms of disaster movies, very interesting approach to it. And it, I don't know. It's an exciting way to change up the genre.
For sure.
Totally. Yeah, my answer is, I guess, a smaller scale disaster movie than most of these. It's not world ending or anything like that.
It's the ant bully.
One tyrant from the overworld
That's really
pisses on our
scale.
ant farm.
The bully in that is named Lucas. Isn't that fun?
That's
very
so fun.
Is he named after George Lucas?
Yeah.
What were his first words?
Jar Jar.
Wow. No, mine is the movie Only the Brave, which is about a team of hotshot forest fire fighters.
Oh, yeah. I've heard about
The
this.
Josh Brolin one?
Yeah, it stars Josh
nice.
Brolin, Miles Teller, and Jeff Bridges.
I've heard it's
And
intense.
they all rock. Like, they are so like, it's a smaller movie that doesn't get talked about a lot, but their performances are killer. And the movie itself is devastating. I saw it in theaters with my parents and my grandma, and my grandpa is a recently retired forest firefighter.
Oh, dang. Nice.
And
Wow.
I just remember watching it with my mom and my grandma, and I was sitting in between them, and I was making some jokes with my grandma throughout the first little bit, and by like the midpoint in the movie, we were all just totally zoned in, and I just remember a certain part happens in the movie, and I remember crying, like tears starting to run down my cheeks, and I just heard in solidarity both my mom and my grandma crying next to me.
Dang.
And it was a very heart-wrenching experience, but man, that movie, I haven't watched it since, mostly because I know it's gonna wreck me. Same with like there's other movies that I've cried during that I'm like, I can't watch that again.
Everest, I think, was around that same time as well, and that was one that I really liked too.
Yeah.
Everest is super good. It's got
So-
Elizabeth Debicki in it, who I am obsessed with.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Does she play Everest?
Yeah, she's the mountain.
Okay, that's why. Yeah.
She is very tall, but she does not play the mountain. She's
That's a
not
shame.
tall enough.
That's a shame. I would recommend Only the Brave. Obviously,
Yeah,
I said
absolutely.
I don't want to watch it again. I mean, I would watch it again.
Yeah, but
I just
Right.
know it'll take its toll. But Miles Teller, man, he is so good in that movie. Josh Brolin, Jeff Bridges are always good, you know? So definitely worth a watch.
Yeah, I think I've only heard about it from you, which is crazy because, like, I don't know. Movies
Yeah.
need to, like, movies like that should be getting more publicity than they get.
I
So-
feel like I remember it coming out because I remember thinking, oh wow, Josh Brolin was just in Everest, and then I think that it's like a similar, not exactly, but it's like they're both kind of, you know, that not quite disaster movies, but it's like kind of more of a heartfelt, character-driven, like disaster things happen.
Yeah.
And I was like, huh, interesting. And then I never ended up watching it, but you're probably the only person I know who's seen it and liked it or anything at all. But I'll
Yeah,
have to
I
watch
mean, it is based on a true story, and
Nice.
it's one of those where you're just like, no, please don't
Don't
based
be
on a true
real.
story. Please don't be
I-
real.
like the Iron Claw, where it's like,
actually-
oh man,
Yeah, it's
come on.
exactly
I have,
like that.
I have a question. With Only the Brave, are they like para firefighters? Do they like drop in on
I
parachutes?
I don't believe they drop in on parachutes. I don't think so. I think they're just
Okay.
stationed out close, like in the area
Gotcha.
of the
'Cause
fires,
I-
and then
I-
they watch and go out and.
I only
prevent them.
ask because I was in a leadership class a year ago ish, I think, and we studied both the Everest case that the movie is based on, of like kind of the failed leadership of that group, and then also we studied a firefighter thing where everybody basically got trapped and burned to death in a fire. And so I was wondering if, weirdly enough, both of those came up and were the cases that I studied. And when we talked about both of them, it's possible that it's a different case. But yeah, either way, I'm very interested to go and watch
Yeah,
that.
Joseph Kosinski directed that, who directed Top Gun Maverick.
Joe.
And
Yeah,
Only the
there you
Brave
go.
has Miles Teller and Jennifer Connelly, who are both in Top
That's
Gun
right.
Maverick. So kind of fun.
Yeah. We call him Joe around here.
Oh, okay.
We
Sorry.
love Joe.
Apologize. I didn't know that.
It's okay.
He also directed Tron Legacy, which is fun.
Nice. Is he directing Tron?
Tron Legacy.
He's not
Ultimately.
directing Tren, unfortunately. I wish he was, but if you've seen the logo, the 3 is just the E.
Does
It
it-
looks like Tren,
Tren.
which, if you're unaware, is anabolic steroids. So that's what the
Oh,
movie
nice.
is going to be about. Tron 3 is about Jared Leto taking steroids and becoming even worse.
I can't wait. Answer the question.
But
Louise.
my answer to my own question is the movie Twister. So
Yeah, dude.
Um,
Yeah, man.
to be fair, it's been a while since I've seen this, but I remember watching it a few times growing up. And a little bit more context with Florida and a ride as well, actually, because there was a ride in Universal. There was a
Yeah,
Twister
dude.
ride, and I was terrified of it. And I was terrified of tornadoes in real life. Like, I didn't even want to go to Texas or anywhere in middle America because there's the possibility of a tornado happening.
Dude, same. I remember learning about tornadoes in school and then like double and triple checking with the teacher and then with my parents that like, wait, so those don't happen here though,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Because like I'm not getting sucked into the air. Like that's not going to happen.
That's not going to
to me.
happen, yeah.
I was
Except for the one in
so
Salt
scared
Lake
of 'em.
that did happen.
That's true.
But yeah, that was like I think it was 1999, and I was actually living in Salt Lake when it did happen. And so my parents
you
had told
remember
me
it
that
like it
story.
was yesterday.
Well, no, my parents had told me, hey, yeah, the tornado went right past our apartment building, and so we had to go down like into the basement. We were all like, what is happening? Why is there a tornado in Salt Lake City? But anyway, there was the ride, which I was terrified of. I went on. And then we watched the movie. Mom was like, hey, let's go on the ride and then watch the movie. I watched the movie and liked it, but I was still scared of tornadoes. And then we would just kind of watch Twister every few years. And so, like, I honestly can't remember if it's like that great. There are certainly elements about the movie that I remember really well. I'd like to rewatch it. The new one, I don't know. Maybe the new one is good. It's directed by the guy who
Twisters.
made Minari.
Top
Which,
Gun Maverick.
No. I mean,
I haven't heard of that.
Minari was the movie with
Oh,
Steven
yeah.
Yeun. It's about like a Korean immigrant family. It was excellent. Really, really great movie. I'm like, why is he making twisters? It's like, it just,
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe it's good. So
Well,
that one
first of
element
all-
is a little hopeful for me, but we'll see, I guess.
It seems like a movie that Glenn Powell is built for. Like he from
100%.
that trailer, he fits in so well with a movie
yeah,
like that.
yeah.
So I'm hyped about it. However, I have a problem with the trailer, and I'm going to tell you right now. First of all, seeing the trailer on an IMAX screen, amazing.
Yeah, pretty cool.
Like I'm actually pretty hyped for Twisters. But there's a line that could be so much better than it is. He's a storm chaser. He's talking to this girl and he's like, "You don't run from your fears." And then he says, "You ride them. You chase them. Come on."
Yeah.
That's the line. You're a storm chaser. You don't run from your fears. You chase them. Perfect. Awesome line. But it's you ride them? Stupid.
You ride them.
Well, it's because you
Stupid,
ride
dumb
tornadoes,
line.
you don't chase them.
That's true.
He chases them. He and his friends.
He chases them so he can ride them.
Oh, I didn't realize that was the goal.
That's the goal, is to ride
Okay,
it.
well then
Put
in
a
that
saddle
case-
on it and ride it
Okay.
like a
now
horse
I
or
get it.
cow.
Or a nuclear bomb in that one movie.
Yes, Mr. Strangelove does
Dr.
a,
Strangelove.
does a stinky in the
Mr.
toilet.
Strangelove's big holiday.
Yeah.
Dr. Strangelove.
Or
and the
how I learned
unexpected virtue of
ignorance. Yeah, exactly.
Or how I learned to
Love the bomb and stop
Something.
fearing.
Stop
or
fearing and love the
Stop
bomb.
worrying and
Bomb.
love the bomb. Something. It's a long.
Yeah,
Stanley,
I love that
great
one.
name.
Stanley
I
Kubrick
love
episode
that
coming
one.
soon, guys. But yeah, Twister. That's my answer.
Twister's
That's a good answer.
friggin' great answer. Man, I want to watch that movie right the heck now so that I can be ready for Twisters
Twister.
When
2.
does Twisters come out?
I think May
sometime-
or June coming up here?
soon.
Twister
I don't
season.
know.
Yeah, it is. It
It's
is tornado
Twister
season.
season.
So kind of fun that they're timing that.
All of our fans that live in the alley, our hearts
Yeah.
are with you.
Imagine a
Thoughts and
tornado
prayers.
devastating a movie theater that's screening Twisters. Wouldn't that be kind of wild?
Dude. If I were to go out,
That's the way, yeah. Watching
Well,
Twisters
sucked
in
down by a
IMAX
tornado
and getting
while I'm
sucked
seeing
in.
Twisters. But dude, you're seeing it in 3D, so you're not even sure.
You're like,
if
whoa,
real.
it's so real.
Wow, this is the best 4D experience I've had. My chair is rocketing into the stratosphere.
It's not just a movie. What does the IMAX thing say? It's something
It
like
says
that.
watch a movie.
Oh yeah, watch a movie.
No, don't watch a movie.
No,
What
it
is
says
it?
watch a
It
movie.
just
It
says
says
watch a movie.
And then it says
or be a
of
part of. Yeah, that's what it is. That's what it is. It just says watch.
That's
a movie.
great
But-
time. Watch
it
a
says-
movie or be a part of one.
I don't think we've talked about this on the podcast, but it's something that all of us laugh about every time we see an IMAX movie. It does this big countdown from 10, and then it gets to 1, and then it says, watch a movie. And that's the only thing on screen for like 3 straight seconds before it resolves it. And it just feels like,
It's like the
Okay,
Obi-Wan
we will.
Kenobi. That's why I'm here.
oh, it makes me laugh.
Watch a movie.
Okay, I got a question, Segway King. I got a question. My question
good segue.
is, it's kind of a just say
Unbeatable.
Segway King. Pitch to me a disaster movie that uses a kind of disaster that isn't already in a movie, or at least a popular one. Does that make
Yep.
sense?
Oh man,
It makes sense.
I got a pitch for you.
Oh, great.
Jared, if you want to go first, go for it. If not, I'm ready.
Sure, I'll go.
All right, go for it.
Picture your average American household, right? It's got that beautiful lawn. It's got a white picket fence around. You know, the American dream, if you will.
Nuclear
And-
family.
Yeah, a nuclear family. And one day, you know, wife is walking out to get the newspaper for her husband, who's hardworking. This takes place in the 50s, I guess.
James. Susan and James.
yeah.
Susan and
Smith.
James. She goes out, she gets the paper, and she's like, ugh, there's a little grasshopper on it. And she kind of like swats it away. Gosh.
Oh.
And, you know, she takes it back in. They're eating, you know, having a good meal. Like, he kisses her good morning and goodbye, and he leaves for the house. And as he's driving, yeah, just a lot of like, splatter on the windshield. Try to wipe it off. Like, God, this is terrible. What is going on? Like, just my luck kind of deal.
What's going on out here?
You know, he goes to work. Classic disaster kind of movie. You getting little bits on the radio throughout the day. Like, you hear a little bit on the radio while he's in the car. Like, reports of some big bugs storming, and then you're just
Once
like,
every
whatever.
17 years.
Yeah.
Like cicadas.
Yeah.
Exactly. And then, you know, just have that slowly throughout the day. And then you find out, yes, sir, there is a storm of locusts that is come to plague the planet again.
The whole planet?
Of course.
Yes.
Of course.
We got locusts, baby.
Locust World.
Yeah.
World.
Locust World. Yeah.
I love it.
I do too. Yeah.
I
think
don't
it's
know where
great.
it goes from there. Probably
just-
some big chase to try to get to the
Get away from the locusts.
Get-
Home
to the-
Depot for the bug killer.
Yeah, get to the mosquito abatement center before everyone else.
Yeah.
Find
Get all the sprays
the
you need.
queen locust.
Yeah, dude, it turns into kind of an Edge of Tomorrow type thing.
Yeah, you see like planes crashing because locusts are getting in the engines and
Like,
stuff.
yeah.
You see like all the disaster shots you can do. Have like the president decide he needs to nuke San Francisco to stop the locust hive
Yeah,
or
dude.
something like that.
I love it.
That's my pitch.
This is a little bit based on a real thing that Jared got to see, which is up here in Logan.
Oh,
when
yeah.
We were driving out to where I work. There was a day we were driving out kind of in the late spring, early summer, where you could barely see the road because of how many grasshoppers were
That's
just dead,
crazy.
Logan is riddled
We are
with grasshoppers.
Grasshopper City.
That's crazy. I didn't know that.
Grasshopper
Yeah, it's-
City over here.
It's nuts.
It really does feel like that. Every time I'd
Okay.
go on a walk, they'd be like jumping.
Yeah.
Just
You're like, huh?
like
Man.
it's an absurd amount in a
It's
town.
crazy. It kind of makes you realize how outnumbered we are. Like if they chose to rise
They
up.
could, they would win.
Like in Logan, there are more
Yeah.
grasshoppers than there are people in the world. You know?
I think that might be true. It's like 7 billion of them.
So I have a thought just real quick because you made me think of a different answer. So I want to amend my answer to movies that are disguised but are actually disaster movies.
Oh, nice.
Interstellar.
Yeah,
dude.
that was one of my
Oh,
ideas.
the
yeah.
the blight that takes out all of the crops on Earth.
Totally is a
Dude,
disaster
that
movie.
world
yeah.
is so bleak. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's tough. So anyway, just thinking of,
More of that, yeah, totally.
crops and farmland, locusts. got me
Jurassic
there.
World Dominion. Again, I don't know why somehow I've brought that up twice on this episode, but
It should be, this is a Jurassic World.
That's the
episode.
subtitle
That's
of
the
the episode. Disaster movies,
Jurassic World Dominion, does have a bit of a
No, don't
locust
call it
element. I honestly don't remember but I just remember the only reason I even remember that there are
There's a
locusts
locust
in that movie is because my review was like, "Why are there locusts in this movie?" And I was like, "Oh yeah,
Does it make
there's locusts."
it could be a cool way to make the dinosaurs the good guys.
It's not that they're the
Where
good
now
guys.
they-
It's like they're
now they
threatening.
join-
There's too many locusts and there's too many dinosaurs, and for some reason they can't coexist. I don't know. I don't remember. Maybe they eat the food that the dinosaurs. It's some weird, dumb. Like it's just like,
It
Dude,
sounds
why
good.
are there
If the locusts rose up and then offered the dinosaurs a viable spot in the food chain to offer value to the world, that's the perfect way to end that movie. Is okay, now dinosaurs are
Interesting.
just
Interesting. You should mention sentient animals because that's gonna move into my pitch a little bit. We're moving.
smart bears.
We're moving a
movie.
few hundred, maybe a few thousand years into the future, right?
apes.
The Earth is pretty well off, except for an infestation
Apes.
of another one. Except for the infestation of one unexpected animal, and that is lions. Lions are
Lions.
lions have riddled the globe with just their infestatious nature, and there are just far too many lions on the planet. And so The governments of the world band together and say, enough of these lions. There are 1 trillion lions on Earth. And they load them up into a bunch of rockets. And they
Oh, dude, it's the lions versus the sun?
Well, let me get there. So
Okay, sorry.
Don't spoil.
Sorry.
They put all the lions, except for some, obviously, so that they can continue to exist.
The ones they need.
They need.
Yeah.
They put 1 trillion lions into rockets across the whole globe. And they're like, the only way we can get rid of them is by launching them into the sun. That's the most eco-friendly way to get rid of these lions. Otherwise, there's just going to be too many lion corpses everywhere. So they put the lions into these rockets and they launch them into the sun, right? And they're expecting, 1 trillion lions versus the sun? It's no contest. It's no contest. The sun wins every time.
Oh.
Boy, are they wrong. The lions arrive and are launched out of the rocket. And remember, this is 1 trillion lions we're talking about. This is a lot of lions. There's so many lions. 1 trillion lions. So there's a few waves that get beat by the sun. However, the lions reach the sun's surface and start to absorb its energy. And because of that, the lions gain the sun's powers and also sentience. So they become hyper-intelligent super lions with the power of the sun. And now they're mad. They're mad about getting kicked off Earth. They're angry. They're lions with motivation. And so the power of the sun includes flight. And so they turn around and they fly back to Earth. And man, are they ready to get their revenge.
You got 1 trillion Super Saiyan lions.
Exactly. Those lions, some of them just meteor straight into the Earth, causing insane...
They're all golden Sonic mode.
Exactly. They're just launching into the Earth, creating craters, devastating, and some of them die on the journey, whatever, but a large majority of the 1 trillion lions make it, and they are just wreaking havoc. Just these sentient, powerful 1 trillion lions using the power of the sun, just blasting people with their arms sunbeams and their head sunbeams, and they're just going crazy tearing through these people.
What is the difference between the arm sunbeams and the head sunbeams?
The one that comes out of their head requires more energy because it's bigger, and it requires
it's like the Iron
more
Man
of a cooldown.
Unibeam.
Exactly, more of a cooldown
Gotcha.
time. And these sentient lions, the king lion goes to the king of Earth because Earth is all one community at that point, I guess, and they have to negotiate. They're like, we're the lions, and we're in charge now. So we're going to make a deal about how we'll let you live here with us and we're the lions. But then the movie ends with all the humans getting shipped into the sun. The humans can't beat it, though. The humans can't beat the sun.
So they
die. All the humans die, and the 1 trillion lions live on Earth uncontested.
And it's called
Pride. Sun Lions.
Sun Lions is better than the Pride. Sun Lions is way better than the Pride.
So yeah,
the tagline is once they were king of the jungle, now they're king of all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or king of the earth.
Now they're king of the solar system.
And the budget is $500 million. I'm ready to make it. I got a full script written, 280 pages.
Would you be directing?
I would be directing. Yep. Awesome. So any studios out there that are ready to produce Sun Lions, just hit me up. You guys, this is a fail-safe idea. It cannot fail. Next Titanic $2-3 billion hit is Sun Lions. Hit me up. $500 million minimum budget.
All right.
I love it.
Good pitch.
Thanks.
So I'm realizing that I forgot to come up with an actual answer, and the joke answer that I came up with was stubbing your toe.
That is a disaster.
Making that
it's a tough one.
Making that a movie. No, oh crap! I did actually come up with a real answer.
But you were just so distracted by how good Sun.
But then I got distracted by Sun
Lions.
Lions genuinely, and I didn't write a thing down. So give me just a second to remember what it was going to be.
Was it was it about Pokemon? If Pokemon took over the Earth?
Oh no! I remember what it was.
Okay,
I remember what it was. Okay, so the near but ambiguous future. No year is the near but ambiguous future, not year. The U.S. government has abolished NASA. So
okay.
NASA no longer can
Dang
give us
it.
information about space
Also like
and what's
NFL.
going on with space. An asteroid hits Earth.
No.
But it's not a huge deal. It hits the ocean. Everybody's panicked about it. This is the first 10 minutes of the movie. Everybody's panicked about it, but then it hits the ocean. All good. However, because NASA wasn't around to keep tabs on what this all means, they didn't realize this knocked Earth off its orbit. And now Earth is too far away from the sun, and we go into an ice age. But a modern ice age where everything freezes over, everything's starting to freeze. But you have that in the very beginning. And then, or maybe you don't have that, and you do like a Quiet Place thing where you start to reveal it. As
it's already the Ice
but
Age.
You've got people. Well, I don't know. Maybe for the disaster movie, I feel like maybe it is.
Oh, that's another kind of pseudo-disaster
when
movie.
it's happening.
Quiet Place. Those
But
ones.
it could.
Especially the new one
Well, Quiet Place Day
looks
One
like
is
it's
going to
gonna
be
be,
a
yeah,
disaster
totally.
movie. Yeah. But what I'm thinking is, okay, so for disaster movies purposes, for an actual good movie, you would have it be already
established,
in the Ice
yeah.
Age where people have kind of set up their new, cultures and whatnot. But for this movie, planet gets hit by an asteroid. Everyone thinks it's chill, but then it is chill.
Oh.
Everything starts to freeze.
I see.
Hey,
And
everybody.
they have to figure out how to survive.
What killed the
Ice Age.
dinosaurs? The Ice Age.
The Ice Age.
Not true.
And
That's not
you would call it Ice Age Continental Drift.
I see. Well, I hate to bring up Roland Emmerich again, but Day After Tomorrow
He
does a
directed Ice
similar thing with that ice thing. You ever seen Day
What
After
does?
Tomorrow?
No.
I think that's Jake Gyllenhaal
Tom Cruise?
and Dennis Quaid.
It does. And Dennis
Oh,
Quaid, their father, son.
Yep, it's an ice town
Wow.
movie.
There's also an interview on that movie where they're in a new movie together.
Oh,
whatever
The
it
Strange
was.
World, the animated
The Strange
one.
World, yeah. And he's
Oh,
like,
right.
"What's it like working on a movie together again?" And he's like, "What?" Jake Gyllenhaal's like, "We worked on a movie." He's like, "Yeah, he was your dad." He's like, "What? In what movie?"
That's so funny.
And they said, "The Day After Tomorrow" or whatever. And he's like, "We were never on set together."
That's
Or
crazy.
maybe, like one day they were.
That's nuts.
So he's like,
You
I
ever-
did not remember that he was my dad in that.
Have you ever realized that Dennis Quaid has like the most detailed face ever?
He is incredibly detailed. I do like
You know,
that.
but
about him.
you know what
He's
I
a good
mean?
detailed
Like,
man.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot
There's a
going,
lot,
there's
yeah.
just a lot of different parts of that face that like say you were to draw him, a drawing
Impossible.
of him versus a drawing of Jack Quaid, it would take 20 minutes to draw Jack Quaid. It would take like
200 hours.
a full day and a half to draw Dennis.
Yeah.
There's just a lot going on.
There's a lot going on, and it's a 100% handsome. He's a good looking.
Dude, Dennis
He
is
good-looking.
nice.
He kind of looks like what are those dogs that their faces all wrinkled up? Mastiff?
Snarlulum
Matisse.
Mackintinsons.
It's one of those dogs that's all smushed up. He looks like that. But
Another
like hot.
another interview
Hot
from
and
the
handsome.
Strange World press tour from Jake Gyllenhaal was
Oh, the
the
joke.
joke. Oh, dude,
Yeah.
just brutal. He was just responding to
Really
some
the strange
question.
world?
Yeah, exactly. He's like, it really is. When you think about it, it is a strange world we're living in after all. He looks around and everyone just ices him. They don't even look at him or react or
It's
nothing.
cold,
they just
dude.
stay
So
looking at the
funny.
interviewer, and the interviewer doesn't even laugh. Like, you'd be like, come on. Not even the interviewer is going to give him anything.
You
Just
can tell. You
fully
can tell he's
shut
tired.
down.
He's been dealing with the press all day. He's trying to have a good attitude about it, and he pitches this joke out to the room, and nobody swings.
They just let it go. Oh man, it's
Oh, it's so sad.
yeah.
Their
Well-
response was about as cold as
The Ice Age.
the Ice Age.
The Ice Age. Very good. Well, hey, we did it.
We did.
Everyone?
We yapped
We
for
did.
a whole hour about
Here's something
disaster
that I
movies.
think
Disasters.
here's something I think we could start implementing to the end of our show. We can give it a shot this time
Let's try it.
and see what we think. But you guys remember when you would watch like kids shows and they would have like a recap at the end of what we learned?
Oh,
Yeah.
What did we learn today?
what did we learn?
What lessons?
We
what
learned-
lessons can we?
We
walk
learned
away
Joseph
with?
Kaczynski
There's-
directed
Yeah.
Remember the Brave.
One guy behind all of the worst disaster movies out
Yep.
there.
Yeah,
Shout out Roland. Roland
There
Emmerich.
it is.
If you
Roland
if you walk away from this episode with one piece of information, it's that Roland Emmerich makes bad movies,
Yeah.
and they're always
All right.
disaster movies.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
throw on
We
a
learned
Roland Emmerich movie to close out your day today. Maybe you're listening in the middle of the week. Maybe you're listening on the weekend. Throw on some Moonfall or some Godzilla '98. See if I'm wrong. I'm
putting Moonfall on. I'm putting Moonfall on right when we start recording the bonus episode. I'm not even gonna participate. I'm just gonna
be watching Moonfall.
looking at my screen.
That's pretty fair, honestly. It
could be pretty good.
It's definitely
Could be good to do.
enough to maintain your focus, I'm sure.
One more announcement before we go. I am getting another report that, unfortunately, the report that the founder stuff didn't happen.
Yeah, that fake
that
one.
was the false report, and it did in fact
The fake-
actually happen.
The fake one was the fake
no.
one?
The real one.
The real one was real.
The real
and then
one was
there's a
real,
fake
and then
one
the
to
fake
say
one
it was
came
fake.
in saying that the real one was fake, but the real one was real, and the next one was the fake one. So Michael Keaton is dead.
Dang it.
So-
Michael Douglas Keaton.
Michael Douglas.
Michael Douglas,
Michael in
parentheses.
in quotation marks. Keaton
Yeah.
Douglas. So they are dead. If you guys want to see more, you can go ahead and support us on Patreon. Patreon.com/mancavemovienight. On there, we do all sorts of crazy, goofy, weird stuff, including bonus episodes called Post Credits, where we talk about more things. And I, this week, watch all of Moonfall. Also, the people that support us on Patreon get to do what these people that I'm about to list are going to do right now, which is shout out Kel. Shout outs to Kel from Rowan Oberg, Nick Bell, Michael Polonczyk, Easy Law, Britton, Inkley, Riley, Allen, Ian, James Martin, and Hannah Steed. You can join that list of names by supporting us. $3 a month, Patreon. It's super good. It's super cool. And
Fun.
It's super
And nice.
good.
It's so good and fun.
And nice.
Yep.
And when we make jokes, they don't ice us.
Yeah.
That's true.
We always
We
laugh.
pretend each other are funny.
We pretend each other are funny. Well, thanks for listening, everyone, and we'll see you next week, right?
Yeah, we will.
On
and
what?
you know what day we're going to see you on? We're going to see you on another Man Cave movie night.
Oh?
Monday.
Monday.
Well,
Friday.
Monday.
Buzz
Monday.
by Zinga,
Bye-bye.
everyone. That's in.
Bye, 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 bye,
That's
bye.
the new trend. Buzz by Zinga, and I'm saying it.
Bye.